There he is. My dude. Yo, Jordan, what's up, my man? Yes, there he is, my man.
Hey. What's up, my man? How are you?
Not much, man. Sorry, I had a little bit of technical difficulties over here.
No
Apparently,
worries, man.
apparently I clogged my drain. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I had a nice little setup with my gimbal, my stabilizer, and like my AirPods. Everything was all nice and set up, and then I had to move location. So now I'm hiding in the bedroom. But here we are.
It's all good, man.
So what's going on, man?
Okay.
Where do you want to start with this stuff, man? Like, thanks for first of all, for all the guys jumping on this call that don't know Jay Mulatto. He is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, head strength conditioning coach at St. Lawrence College. St. Lawrence College out in Kingston. Has worked with me at Canada Basketball for 6 years.
Yeah, about 6,
7 years.
Now, yeah.
7 summers now. Over the time, we've become very good friends. What else should I tell them about you?
I love kicks just like you.
He loves kicks just like me. He respects Michigan State as much as I love Michigan State, and I think that's where we became really good friends. And that's kind of where we're going to start with all this stuff, right? Like that's kind of where our history goes way back. For anybody who is following Jay and doesn't know me, my name's Chris. I've been working with Canada Basketball now for almost or over 10 years now. But even before that, I had a thing for shoes and Nike. Geez, I don't even know how long ago. I used to work for Nike 15 years ago. This is a kind of like a deep, dark secret of mine. I don't really tell everybody. But I chose the schools I went to work for in the U.S. based on what team they were sponsored by. University of Florida. University of Florida was a Nike school, and Michigan State was a Nike school. So I couldn't say no. And then obviously with Nike sponsoring Canada Basketball, I couldn't say no to that either. So I kind of developed an affinity for shoes, but going on with my career with athletic therapy, kinesiology, massage therapy, and then even to osteopathy, you get a different appreciation for the foot, the ankle, the knee, the hip, and how it all relates to the shoe. So we're kind of like taking the dust off some of my passions off the shelf and kind of just like reinvigorating and retouching back on like the love and passion for shoes. And like for me, shoes are a functional piece of art, which can affect everything. And I know Jay has a similar kind of love for that. So when Jay kind of reached out, or I kind of threw the call out for anybody who wanted to jump in a call like this, Jay was one of the first to respond, and very fitting. So we're here to talk about shoes, but not just shoes, and not just like the story behind the shoes of like, you know, the Air Max 1s or 90s or 2090s that just came out, but like the deep essence of the shoe itself, like the purpose, the functionality, like what it means, what it does, what does this material do, what is this, what is the outrigger, what is the structure, what is the function, and how do all these pieces tie into performance, not only just for your personal self, but as an athlete. So I'm playing a little bit of roulette and letting whoever I chat with choose the shoe. I have no idea what shoe's coming at me right now, but that makes it a little bit more fun. And I'm going to let Jay kind of take it from here. Like, tell me a little bit about where we're going with this and what do you want to know, and maybe share your shoe or share a bit of your story.
Yeah, I think like you said, you know, as a strength and conditioning coach or performance coach, like, you know, that's the thing that's on the ground, right? That's the thing that's touching the ground. That's where all the force is going and where it's coming through. And so if that's not right, everything up the chain can be affected. But also when you think about, you know, your injury history or your position or your sport, you know, you can't always go off of, well, LeBron wears it, so I want to buy it, or it looks swaggy, so I want to buy it.
Right.
It's really thinking about, you know, what type of player are you, what's your body structure, and getting the appropriate footwear. And as a strength and conditioning coach who does a lot of different things, you know, with Canada Basketball, we're on the floor, we're running the warm-ups, we may be rebounding for guys, we may be doing stuff like that. In that case, we're going to wear a basketball shoe, but maybe we're working out in the weight room, you know, in between practices. We need a different shoe for that. Maybe we like to go for jogs on the weekend. We need a different shoe for that, right?
Right.
At least that's how I think about it. So I've got a bunch of different purposes, and I'm going to throw a couple at you.
Yeah. Let me stop you there real quick. Hey, Coach Sharma, what's up? I like to kind of stop right there real quick because I want people to understand. I want athletes to understand. your shoes are important investment tools, and all of them should have a different purpose. They're not just kicks you rock around in. I mean, every one has pros and cons to it. Everything has a benefit and a cost, and it's understanding how those benefits amplify your skill sets, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. And this is something that I've always had a passion for, and Jay and I've had a passion for too, is understanding what is the best shoe for your game and your anatomy for that matter. So Jay, go ahead. Where are we going with all this? Where are you? What curveball are you throwing at me?
Oh, we could start with the basketball shoe since
that is our jam, man. That is the jam.
Off the top. So off, it's funny, kind of, a little bit of a backstory is I haven't hooped in a long time, and when I started kind of, playing basketball a little bit more or shooting with the guys or whatever, I had been in training shoes for a long time and minimal drop training shoes, minimalist shoes for a long time. And so I was going back to try to buy a basketball shoe and had a tough time finding a shoe that my foot felt comfortable in, wasn't too bulky, mimicked that feel that I had been used to. Yeah. My foot on the ground. So, it took a while. And then I ended up going with the Kobe's.
The classic Kobe's.
Yeah. So a little bit of an older shoes, new. I don't wear them a lot, but, so that's what I ended up with, a mid cut. Keeps the responsiveness with the zoom. I feel the floor, not too bulky. So we can get into this one right off the top.
Yeah. Let's get into that one a little bit, because personally for me, like, I have always loved the Kobe line. But as a Filipino, I guess we're all just designed to be point guards. So we're just supposed to go. But I think the real important thing to understand first, I think the biggest feature that I want everybody to take away from the Kobe's is, like, the height of the shoe doesn't really matter in the grander scheme of things. And that's not taking into account previous injuries or knee problems or hip problems. In all honesty, that's a whole different segment that we can go into about general foot structure, ankle structure, previous injuries, and how that shoe will affect those things withstanding. But we're going to talk about the shoes specifically right off the bat. We're not going to get too deep into foot assessment and ankle assessment. So that being said, that Kobe, I love the low cuts. And this is where I get into a little bit of a personal battle with myself, because I know in terms of branding, Adidas should be killing the low cut shoe because they've had so much history with a soccer shoe or a football shoe. So they should be destroying this game with, like, low cut shoes. But I love what Nike's done with it. And I think the first thing I want people to understand when it comes to low cut shoes is height doesn't really affect anything. If this is my foot and this is my ankle, having it strap up here is going to do nothing for me in terms of ankle stability or mobility. What we're really looking for, what we're really trying to focus on, is how the heel sits into the heel cup itself. So Jay, if you're doing a perfect job here, Vanna White, if you can do me a favor, just try to crush that heel down a little bit, and you guys will see how supportive that is. So the stability of the ankle itself starts at what we call the calcaneus, and it's how well it sits into that part of the shoe. And you can see in a lot of basketball shoes, it's really stable. If I don't have any other shoes on me, but you'll see a lot of running shoes whose purpose is to go linearly, they just collapse and crush. Jay, you got me on that? You got it. Oh, there it is. So if you see, there's a shoe that's designed to go straight forward and back. There is no stability in the heel cup, and that's not the purpose of the shoe. The basketball shoe, completely different. So the heel cup is going to play a huge role on whether or not that's a stable shoe for you. The second part to that I always like to point out is the angle at which the laces pull at. If you go to the top 2 or 3 holes or the eyelets of the shoe, you can almost see that they go down into the heel, and the heel cup and laces will create a vector, which actually, in fact, is what stabilizes the shoe itself. Sorry, that stabilizes the foot in the shoe itself. Perfect, Jay. You're killing it. And the beautiful thing about the Kobe's is, if you look at the perpendicular line of the shoes coming from the midsole, it actually supports that line. So in terms of physics and anatomy, it's doing a great job of supporting that ankle in the shoe itself. If we can even go deeper than that now. So that's just me in a low cut shoe. Technically, I don't really call that a mid cut at all. I guess you can call it a mid cut because it covers the malleolus or the ankle itself. But
right on.
Yeah, so
it's right.
It's right in the middle. It's a mid cut, so it's more of I guess that's a whole different conversation of defining what a low cut, mid cut, and a high cut is. But for me, that's still a low cut. Going deeper into that Kobe, I love the Kobe shoes because it's really, really minimal. It's not fancy, and the biggest thing and most important thing about the Kobe shoe itself is that it was designed for speed and mobility. And there's my dog in the background. So the Kobe shoe, because it's designed for speed, what Kobe wanted, rest in peace. For speed, you need to be low to the ground, so the energy transfer from your foot and your body going into the ground is extremely efficient, which is why zoom is plays such a big role in the shoe itself. And it has to be extremely lightweight. So the Kobe shoes are one of the first ones to integrate Flyknit into its shoe itself, and that's going way, way back when Flyknit was in its infancy. Well, they called it Flywire. That's going way back.
It's in there.
And it's still in there. And then Kobe's were one of the first ones to do it because it provided structure stability and lightweight, which allowed Kobe to still be extremely fast on the court. And that's kind of why I love that shoe in general. I'm not a fast guy. I probably shouldn't be wearing Kobe's, but they just feel really good on the foot.
Yeah.
And that's just talking on the structure itself. If we start going into like the functions of it, Jay, can you hold that up again and share flip it over? Yeah. So like if you really like look into that, like there is no direct direction of that pattern. So it's really designed to go in any direction you can go, which again really fits Kobe's game. That white material is called crystal rubber, which is a derivation of carbon rubber. So it's not as stable. It's not as durable as black carbon rubber would be. But in all fairness, you don't want that black carbon on the court because it's going to mark it up. But at the same time, it has this aesthetic appeal because it's clear and it looks good. But it also, on a marketing level, it allows you to see what's going on underneath. It can show off the Zoom Air if you need to. Nike can do a little bit more marketing and on that level because the shoe itself is clear. But again, to follow Kobe's purposes, it's designed to be able to go in several different functions, in several different ways as it can go. And it's supposed to be lightweight and close to the ground. And that shoe specifically, I will generally, depending on previous injuries, recommend to a point guard. And maybe a 2, and depending on the athlete himself, maybe a 3. It's almost doesn't provide enough stability for a 4 and a 5, just strictly based on the way a 4 and a 5 is going to play. So when you're looking at a Kobe shoe, like I said, you're looking for speed, quickness, and multi-directional movement, which is generally your 1, your 2, and your 3. Your 4 is most likely a high-low post guy. Your 5 is most likely a high post guy or a low post guy. So they're not doing a lot of multi-directional. They're just doing up and downs, court to court, end to end. And that's generally why, like, I always question when I see some of the pro guys wearing Kobe's, or like, and I hate to say it, as much as I love PJ Tucker swag, why the F are you wearing some of those shoes? They're not for your game. They shouldn't be wearing those things, but he does what he does. And I guess when you have that much money and that much kind of swag to wear whatever you want, I guess you can get away with it, but I don't think it benefits his game much. And that's an argument we can have with whoever else wants to chat about this stuff. But that's a Kobe shoe on the outer, at least the outsole, at least. The midsole is a whole different ball game. Can I see that midsole again? And guys, I'm doing this off the cuff, so I'm just trying to go off what I remember. So that looks like that. Jay, if you don't mind squishing that for me, let me know if that wrinkles. Does that wrinkle at all? Can you see? Can you tell?
No, not a lot of wrinkle.
Okay, so that's probably what we call dual density Phylon or ethyl vinyl acetate, and they do like one layer heat molded, then they cool it really, really quickly, and then they do another layer on top of it, so they can actually target and shape where the pressure and forces are going to be to protect it, specifically the way you're going to play. You'll probably see a lot of more of the forces and the pressure is going to go along the forefoot to help stabilize lateral movement, and they call it the outrigger. I mean, the outrigger, if you watch Moana, is designed to kind of stick out and stabilize the ship as a whole. And that's kind of why they call it an outrigger. So it's probably going to be a little bit thicker out there. There's probably going to be a little bit more mobility out there as well. And it's going to kind of look, yeah, there it is. So so you can see it's a little bit more wider, stable base so that you can help with lateral movement. And you can see it right there on the sides. They kind of darken out a little bit. They've increased lateral stability so you can shift in different directions, but give you the stability you're going to need when you change directions. So
it does have this kind of
so that's the outrigger.
Exactly what you mean here. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's literally called an outrigger, and that's literally there to support lateral movement. There is a cost to that though, but I want a lot of people to understand is that because it's an outrigger, just like a Moana on the boat, when it starts to lift, which it's going to want to lift, the purpose of the outrigger is actually to help you stick to that. The weird, in terms of physics, the design of a shoe. A running shoe, at least, that's designed to change direction. It's almost trying to create a pillar of force through the medial part of your foot which will lead to overpronation and like weakness of the knee and then glutes. So the shoe itself is kind of causing some of your problems because it's forcing you into pronation to help you create enough force to stop, load, change direction. The outrigger is designed to help keep the shoe to stay on the foot. So it doesn't really have so much of a lateral stability purpose as much as it is to help manage to keep the shoe on the foot. To talk about that, man, like the fly wire itself, which a lot of people don't realize, actually goes underneath the foot on top of the midsole. So it actually wraps around your foot. So when you lace it, it becomes one big encapsulating strand of material to really lock your foot in. But again,
yeah, you definitely feel this is the first fly wire. I've had fly wire in my football cleats before, but from a basketball shoe standpoint, and you definitely feel that grab on your foot.
Yeah, right? Like you're locked in.
Yeah, and close your whole foot 360 all the way around, which I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely feel it. It's not just kind of something there. You definitely do feel that grab, which is good.
Yeah. So tell me more about that shoe, Jay. What else about that shoe do you love, or any questions about like features on it that you might have been wondering, or shoes in general? Like, is there anything that you kind of bring up? Because honestly, like you can tell, I can talk on and on and on about shoes.
No, I think like you said, like I think it's matching the shoe for your game. So like you said, I'm an off ball guy. I'm like 5'9", 175. Zoom Air is where I like to be as far as like
Mac, you hearing this? Mac, you hearing this? You hearing this?
So I that's the way my game is. So I don't need a lot of like cushioning as far as like the bigs like you were talking about before. And yeah, I've loved it as far as performance and feeling connected to the ground, which was my biggest thing I was looking for, because that's what I was doing in my training. Was
can you compare it to the ground? Can you compare it to another shoe that you've worn before that?
Yeah, I was playing in a Hyperdunk, an old Hyperdunk low before, which was again like an old. It did have like, I don't know if it was technically fly wire at that time, but it did have kind of a similar feel. Yeah. It was Lunar.
The Lunar line is a little bit heavier too.
Yeah, it was
a heavier shoe.
A little bit clunkier towards the midsole as well.
Yeah,
that was true low cut. That was like low.
Yeah, so that's a crazy thing with the Hyperdunks because they use Lunar line. So that's another ethyl vinyl acetate, which is generally like it's like the standard for midsoles. With Lunar line, they had to create these wedges, and they almost had to double up from the midsole because it was creating too much torsion. So it felt really stiff, and it didn't actually allow you to pivot and turn and actually rotate your foot. And that's where we can get into a lot of problems with ankle injuries is how well the shoe can torsion at all. Adidas years ago created that shoe, the torsion shoe, where they had a yellow rod under the midsole to kind of keep your foot locked in. But that doesn't make any right? But it doesn't make any sense for a basketball player who actually needs to be able to plant, pivot, and turn. They actually need that torsion. So those Hyperdunks didn't really, if you really notice and pay attention to the market, Lunar lawns for Nike didn't last very long.
No.
They kind of faded. They kind of faded away. It got the durability of Lunar line itself wasn't very good, and they died down really, really quickly. Like you'd lose its cushioning really quickly, and then they just got heavy, and I just didn't like them.
Yeah, so that was kind of, I liked the lightness of those shoes and kind of being a low cut, but they were kind of clunky.
Yeah,
like you said, the Lunar line made it a little bit thicker from a connection standpoint.
Yeah,
and so these are much better. Again, from that point, from a like feeling grounded or feeling connected.
Yeah.
So I really like these. I got to break them in a little bit more, but yeah, I've had I really like them.
Yeah. So the question, the question I throw out to you is: have you tried the PG3s or 4s?
No, I haven't really. Again, as I look, these are good, but as I look to shoes, kind of like, what shoe would I buy? It would probably be something like that.
And I throw that out to you.
A similar silhouette to this.
It's a low cut. It's lightweight.
Zoom is where I want to be.
Yeah, personally for me, the price point's really good. They're looking pretty good these days. I haven't gotten my hands on it yet. I meant to grab one, but haven't gotten it yet, clearly because of COVID. I was supposed to get a pair of KDs too as well, but I haven't gotten those yet too. The KDs are another similar example for a great shoe low to the ground. But they're doing something a little weird or different with it. They're doing a double stacked Zoom Air on top of it for where you're getting.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different feel. I personally don't like it because what's the point? Just go use it ethyl vinyl acetate to keep it light. Why double stack 2 stacks of Zoom Air? It doesn't make sense, and you lose responsiveness.
Yeah, you might as well just regular Air.
And then personally to me, like, just design a better freaking shoe. Like, what the hell? What are you guys doing? Like, why are you overlapping stuff at this point now? Cool. What else?
Guy on our team had the PGs. He got him during the year with the zip.
Yeah.
And I was kind of asking him about them and how they felt, and he felt they were pretty good too.
Yeah.
So I think it's about silhouette. It's about not nothing too really high,
right.
And connected, and usually the Zoom is what sets that up.
Right.
In any standpoint, right?
Right. I see Mac has got a couple comments here. He said he actually had the KD8s, but the Zoom kept popping. The overlapping is a whole different ball game. What they're trying to do is, honestly, it's a marketing thing where they're just trying to put more Zoom in the forefoot to help you feel and respond better. But Mac, we got to do one of these, you and me, and just pull out a couple of shoes and talk about this. Keizo, what's up, man? You and I got to do one of these too. We can talk about shoes. I want to know what you're wearing. We can break down if it's the right shoe for you, because I want to make sure you're playing the best game you got. All right, Jay. So what else? What else about the Kobe? You want to go on with the Kobe, or you want to talk about your next shoe?
Yeah, let's go to the runners, man. Let's go to the runners.
Oh, we're going to the runners.
Let's go to the runners. The weather's getting nicer. As long as you're running 2 meters apart from people, I think you'll be okay.
Trust me, dude. I'm not running that fast. It's more about people running 2 meters away from me. I'm more like a pylon people I got to dodge.
So I was squishing them earlier. These are my everyday runners. These are the ones that and there's a lot to talk about with these. But these are my current runners. And so here's a quick. So
let's talk about these first. I want to reverse engineer this. I know those are the runners you're wearing, but why did you choose those runners?
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
So I want to know. I'm trying to get into the head of my athletes, and I'm trying to understand, like, why do you guys choose what you choose? And this is not a good or bad thing. It's just trying to understand the thought process. Exactly. And for whoever knows me, understands that there is a process.
Yep.
And my job is to decipher your process or help guide you to a better process that might help you get to the better shoe. And that's what I'm talking about. So what's the thought process in your head, Jay? Like, why that shoe? Why not a New Balance? Why not Asics? Why not Vivos? Why not like you were talking about barefoot minimalist shoes earlier, zero drop shoes. And if anybody's interested on that, we can have a whole segment on that. But why those Nikes?
So I wear orthotics as well, just kind of like a side part. I don't necessarily.
So let's stop there for a second. Why do you wear orthotics?
Oh yeah, so I was kind of getting some pronation and some kind of a little bit too much big toe off a long time ago.
You weren't getting big toe off, or you were?
I was.
Okay, good.
Getting some medial knee pain. Meniscus kind of area.
Medial meniscus or lateral?
Medial.
Okay. So all inner.
Yeah.
All inner stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, this was a while ago.
Okay.
Like years, right?
So the orthotics were there to help you minimize pronation.
Kind of keep it more of a neutral position.
Okay.
They helped, and it's really. If I'm doing stuff over a longer duration, so if it's like I'm walking a lot or I'm jogging or I'm like playing football or something like that, where there's a lot of sprinting or repetitive, right, or basketball or whatever, right? Yeah. So then as I'm looking for shoes that I'm going to be running in, and something with a little bit more structure, to keep my foot
right,
kind of like we about before.
Yeah,
right?
And I love that you bring that up, because that's why we're trying to get through this, is try to understand what do you actually need. And that's part of my process, an assessment process, is to figure out, like, basketball is tricky because with basketball, specifically with brands, they have what they call a last, and the last is the foot mold of the shoe. And Nike has one last for every shoe. And what a lot of you guys out there watching right now don't realize is, like, the pro guys have their own mold for their own shoe. They're not getting the one that we all get. They have their own specific shoe. So with basketball, it's hard because Adidas uses their own last. Nike uses their own last. New Balance, which I love, uses their own last. I question this or I'd like to dig deeper with guys who run and get shoes based on structure because there is a plethora of lasts. New Balance is well known for having different lasts for different types of feet and then different styles of shoe within that last. And they're really good at it. That's also why the price point's really high. Asics is another company. And then you have a company like Vivo Barefoot or there's another company, Zero Shoes. They design zero drop minimalist shoes as well. But what last do they use? And does that last or mold fit your foot? So we start to look into the structure of things and understand, does the structure of your foot define the shoe, or does the structure of the shoe define your foot? And that's where I love where we're going with this, Jane. And I'm glad you brought up that you wear orthotics because that's a bigger question. If you overpronate, do I get a shoe to help me stabilize overpronation and to go into neutral? Or do I have a strength coach like you to help me get into neutral while I'm managing overpronation? So there's a bigger conversation that we can have there, specifically with running shoes, because you have all these different options.
Yeah, so 100%. And that's why I say I don't know that now I need orthotics, if this makes sense.
Oh, that's perfect, yeah.
So have I learned a lot in the 7 years that I've had orthotics as far as, hey, my calf was really tight at the time to my arch was collapsed, like all these things. Mm-hmm. And have I worked on those things enough to the point where maybe I don't need them anymore, or maybe I just need them for like very specific time. Yeah. Right. So that's maybe where I'm at right now. I know for me at the time, if we were going to hang out and we were going to go walk downtown Toronto for, a few hours, go to whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't wear my orthotics, I would come home and my knee would be sore.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now I can do that and I can be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know
absolutely.
It's not as bad as it was, but I don't know because I just haven't tried.
Yeah.
Hey, when I really move explosively or when I do a lot of repetitive, will it come back? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a great stance.
You can transition out of it. Like you said, you're working on your foot strength and your health of your foot, and the orthotics or the shoe is, buying you time until you're good now, right?
And that's perfect.
And it opens up the doors for you as far as, shoe selection and these other things, right?
And I love to use the term buy you time. I always look at orthotics like retainers. You're not going to wear them all the time. There's a time and a place to wear them. This was years ago. I remember, I think it was Josh Ford and Mac might have posted it from the Guelph, their Guelph Instagram account, or maybe it was Josh's, but they were showing one of their kids lifting without orthotics and another, then again with the orthotics in. And that's perfect example of a time and a place. While you're working on developing something and building something, that's kind of where you want to be at. And this is where I get into deeper conversations with our athletes is, well, what are you wearing the shoe for? Is this a shoe that we need to address and wear your orthotics in? Or is this something that we're actually going to try to train in? Because ultimately, I want all my guys out of their orthotics. There are obviously some problems. There's some like congenital problems or like bone deformations where you can't avoid it and it's just going to be what it is and you need it. But there will be a lot of people where you can kind of work around it and kind of build away from the orthotics so your foot is strong and like I like to use the word robust.
Yep.
It can handle and do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't train in orthotics, I don't train in orthotics, like I said. I train in minimalist shoes.
Me too. So what do you wear?
Well, right. I'm still rocking a pair of Adidas Adi Pure. I got them here. Yeah, I got them in my gym bag.
Yeah, go get them. Hey guys, it's just a really good thing. There's no Instagram smell because I don't want to smell his shoes coming straight out of the gym bag.
Get out of here.
That's absolutely disgusting, Jay. I love you, but that's disgusting. So
I've been rocking these.
So let's see if he can pull out his minimalist shoes. Because so those are zero drops. They're still a bit of it. So like that's like a. Is that zero drop or that? It's more like a.
No, I think they're like 0.3.
0.3? Yeah, so 0.3. So it's almost like a Vivo.
Yeah, they're like a Vibram. Yeah.
Do they have the wide toe box as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're not bad. They're not bad. They have three stripes is a problem, but I mean, hey.
I love them.
Yeah, And in all fairness, that's my favorite way to work out too.
I can't. The hard part now is like, they're really, there's nothing down there.
Yeah.
So now it's a pair, like they don't make them.
So now it's looking for another brand.
It's like really close, right?
Yeah.
Those are my everyday shoes.
Yeah, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times already, but the Vivo Barefoots are like right now are my go-to. They are a little bit pricey. They are coming from Europe, but and Adnan, if you're still on this, I get the Zero shoes are affordable, but they are ugly as F, and I am not wearing those shoes. The Vivo Barefoots, guys, if anybody's looking for a zero drop minimalist shoe, I swear by them. I try to be barefoot as much as possible. If you've ever been to the Movement Lab, you'll know that we're always barefoot, trying to promote that. But we're not here to talk about bare feet right now. We're talking about shoes. So let's talk about that running shoe. So what is that running shoe? Tell everybody what shoe you're wearing.
Oh, it's a Nike Zoom Structure 18.
So you love the Zoom, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Zoom guy. I'm a Nike guy too. My training shoes are Adidas, but I'm a Nike guy for the most part. And again, it was looking for something. So here's the kicker, right? That's the medial side.
That is the medial side. That is a very big pillar.
Right. So this is rock solid. It's like rock.
Yeah.
It's like cannot. It's like rock solid, right?
So for everybody out there, that is like a medial plate, and that medial plate is preventing him from overpronating. And what we mean by overpronating is foot collapsing or falling forward, which also hopefully would minimize his knee from, air quotes, rolling in and his hip from rolling in, and putting your foot in a better anatomical position. I had this conversation earlier with Dr. Jay Agonia, and we were going for a walk outside, and we were watching other runners. We were 6 feet apart, don't worry. And we were watching other runners, and we were just watching their technique. And we were just having that conversation of that medial support, is it always necessary? I mean, we were always looking at that thing about their shoe and how they ran. Is it more a problem of the foot and knee, or is the shoe causing the problem? Right. But for your case, for your purposes, because you were wearing orthotics, that medial plate to minimize pronation would probably be helpful for you. And at that point, I'd almost consider taking the orthotics out.
Right.
Would you even need it? Yeah. Now it's over supinating now. Yeah. The shoes are already providing. Right? Exactly. Yeah. So you're right on the right track. How do you feel when you wear those shoes?
Good. Solid.
Yeah.
Real solid. You just got Zoom in the 4-foot Zoom. Yeah, really solid.
So tell us why you love the Zoom so much.
I think I don't need a ton of cushioning. I'm not a big heel striker.
Okay.
I'm also not a big guy either.
Okay.
And so I don't feel like I need this big amount of cushioning. And again, I like the responsiveness. I like that connection to the ground.
Okay.
And feeling where my feet are. And I feel like I lose that, especially even if I'm just wearing a walking shoe that's a full length Air, like the Air Max. I have some of those, right? Yeah, and you feel like you're just not even on the ground.
Yeah,
even if I'm just walking around.
Yeah, right? you almost get an idea of what it's like to wear high heels because you feel like you're up.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Air Maxes, 100%.
And I actually hate wearing those. I hate wearing Air Maxes. I hate wearing the new Air Maxes. Like the Air, I take that all back. The 90, 95, 97, even the Air Max ones, I'll rock all those.
I'm talking about
I'll rock all those. But the new ones, 270s, even the Vapor Max is a little too much. I'm not quite too happy with the way they perform. Nevertheless, let's look at the bottom of that shoe. Let's talk about the bottom of that shoe. How often have you been wearing these? Because it looks like it's time for a new shoe, man.
Oh, come on. They're just dirty. Put a lot of money out there. No, they're pretty good. I haven't worn them a lot.
Yeah.
So the tread wear is minimal as far as, because I think that's what you're getting at, is starting to read tread wear pattern.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading tread wear pattern. I'm also looking at where the heel strike is. So guys, and Ron, I see you, man. You can't run in the 270s. Those are just straight flexing, man. No one's rocking those 270s to run in. Those are absolutely ridiculous. And if I saw you, I'm going to pop that air unit just to spite you. But back to Jay's shoe. This is the Structure 18s, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you roll up a little bit so I can see the bottom of the heel, guys, if you can see that a little bit, you can almost see there's a change in material from the outside part of the heel to the inside part of the heel. So what you might not, more on the lateral side, Jay. So what you'll see, guys, is that it's a little bit softer in there, so it actually forces his foot to stay on the outside on impact if he's a heel runner. I know Jay kind of mentioned that. Jay, are you more of a midfoot runner, How would you classify it? A midfoot runner? Yeah. So why the hell are you wearing those shoes? So guys, I love Jay, but this is the conversation. I think I can find you a better shoe.
Yeah, like I'm not like when I say heel strike, yeah, like I'm not like a big like
pound.
Yeah, smash. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
But I'm not like jogging. If I'm jogging, then I'm probably more, balanced, I should say.
Fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, totally. So that being said, guys, looking at his shoe like that's that outside part, the softer material that really collapses is called phylon, which is really soft, and you can see Jake can actually kind of squish it in. The good and bad with that is it's really soft and it provides a really smooth ride, and it collapses early, so that your foot is forced to stay in more of a supinated position, so it can't pronate, and so it collapses in, so it stays out. The catch with that is that the material breaks down really quickly. It's not ethyl vinyl acetate like most midsoles are. That's more of a phylon, so it's super, super soft, and it will collapse. The telltale sign of the shoe is beat up is if you squish it and it stays wrinkled, it's time to replace them. So Jay, I don't know if you can see that, but like they wrinkle a little bit, yeah? If you squish them.
Like it depresses, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You'll know, like if you really compress them and it stays wrinkled, it's time to go. But yeah, see those respond really quickly. They bounce right back. So they're still a good shoe. They're still worthy to wear. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. If we look at the outsole again, Jay, if you don't mind turning that again to the side. Yeah, perfect. You can almost see, guys, that like the shoe itself, the tread, not Jay's tread pattern, but the actual tread of the shoe is guiding him out of overpronation to be in a more neutral, almost supinated position. So it's almost helping him get into a better foot position. Again, this is where we start to talk about where the shoe itself is like an orthotic. It should eventually get you to a neutral shoe. And I think Jay's doing a great job with all this stuff, especially as a strength coach. He knows what he's supposed to do. And guys, if you haven't noticed, like really the biggest concerns about shoes is the outsole and the midsole. The upper is whatever. You can put whatever. Let's fly knit again. It's probably got some stability stuff. Yeah, it's got the fly wire there, the fly knit there. There's no heel cup, not much of a heel cup compared to the basketball shoe. That one will collapse. And that's how you know that's designed to go more linearly forward, back, not side to side. It's very flimsy, but that also applies to being lightweight.
Yeah, like the material itself is more of a nylon, pretty breathable.
Yeah. So all in all, Jay, it's a great shoe, and it matches your headphones, which is even better. Just trying to match.
It's not all about.
Yeah, dude. Not all about. If you're the guy wearing the Charlotte Hornets jersey, running along the path with matching shoes and headphones, I'm gonna knock you over. I swear to God. That's a great. That all in all, everything we talked about, that's a great shoe for you, man.
Yeah, I felt real good in it. Again, I know now, like when I bought these again, like I've had them for a little while. Mm-hmm. That was my need. So now, as I think about, hey, what's my foot doing today versus what it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah, and kudos to you, man. Your training's helped you get to such a better place, and sure. I'd be happy to go shoe shopping with you whenever you feel it, man. Let's go shoe shopping. Let's do this.
Yeah. I got one more for you.
Yeah, man. Let's throw them at me. You throw me a curveball.
A more recent pair. Haven't really rocked them, but I've seen a lot of people have them.
Okay.
A runner as well. Okay. But the
Epic Reacts. Okay, so these are guys. So like, again, this is really interesting shoe because like they're. Can you flip that over again, Jay?
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah.
And then flip it to the outsole, the bottom. So guys, if you notice, if you look at this, there is no difference between midsole and outsole. It's all one piece. So that is ethyl vinyl acetate, and again, like we talked about earlier, is dual density phylon. But the way Nike did it, they figured out a way to make it a little bit softer. But I like to use the term they tuned the dual density in different places. So the interesting thing is, if I heel strike and roll, the midfoot actually bottoms out and it collapses. So they did a dual density phylon material where they specified midfoot so that it stays even when you heel strike and roll. And that's what a lot of people don't know on an engineering level. That's something that they've kind of figured out, which is why the Epic React feels so smooth. That's also why, if you compare that shoe to your other shoe, that midsole's a lot wider. It allows for that spreading, that bottoming out. That midsole widens and flattens out a little bit to give you that expansion in space to be able to do that. Because it's a dual density phylon, basically ethyl vinyl acetate, it is extremely light, and it doesn't itself break down. It doesn't compress and break down very, very quickly. But you, again, like the other ones, when they start to squish and wrinkle, you know it's time to go. You'll also notice, like, because they're so soft, they've actually added a supportive heel plate underneath the heel cup to support the compression of that part of the heel because it's so soft. But that's also the thing.
The yellow stripe there.
Yeah, so it'll actually keep it to support and spread the forces through the epic react because they're such a soft shoe. But in all fairness, man, like, they are a very soft, very light shoe, and that's what a lot of runners are getting into, especially a lot of new runners. They want to feel comfortable. They want something to be soft. Is that what you need for running? Maybe, maybe not. But if it's a way to introduce people to running, awesome. It's a great shoe. If you're just using them as, like, puttering around, even better. But they're a great shoe. Like, tell me, Jay, what do you love about them? Like, what was a special feature to you? Like, why did you decide to grab these?
They reminded me, we were talking about the lunar
Lunar
earlier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how cushiony that those shoes are.
Right.
It reminded me a lot of those shoes when I put them on. That you felt this, like, big, cushion softness that was really comfortable. They're like, you walk and you're on a pillow. Like, it's really, really, really soft.
And they're phenomenal shoes. They're phenomenal, and for the price point too. Like, they're not too crazy.
So they reminded me a lot of those. Again, it's all one upper, all knit upper, right? And kind of that feels comfortable too. Like, these are more. I don't know how much I'm, talking about how we. I don't know how much I'm going to run in these or put miles on these.
I was just going to ask you, like, what is your purpose for them?
Really, like. These are more like, if me and you are going out, shoe shopping for a few hours, and I do need something that's going to give me cushioning as far as a longer day out on the town or whatever, I think that's where these fit. Or sometimes you get, shoes for style and they don't offer you a lot of cushioning, and by the end of the day, you're like, man, my feet are just busted.
Right. And actually, that's another great point. And
these might fit for that. A little swag to them. Still looking good.
A little bit, almost Raptor.
But have the cushioning.
Right. And that's actually a great thing to bring up. Like, your foot feeling it after a couple hours. And that's where I like to judge a shoe, not for the shoe itself, but is the shoe the right shoe for the foot? And I see my boy Red. He's a Presto guy, man. Like, Prestos are solid too. Jeff, Matt Red, and I worked at Nike years and years ago, and we had the ability to get into, like, a lot of sample shoes. I've got a pair of Prestos hidden in my closet that never came out. They are comfortable as hell. But I'm glad they brought back the Prestos recently. I know they kind of fell off a little bit. For all the sneakerheads out there, I'm waiting for the Kukinis to come back because those are one of my favorite shoes. But Jay, speaking of you, man, like, whenever I get an athlete say I want these shoes because my feet will kill me after a couple hours, I start to question, like, is it the shoe that's killing you, or is it your actual foot structure that's killing you? Right. And that's where I like to have those. I like to try to figure those out. But again, I need your foot, and I want to look at it and see how it fits and rolls and how that all works out.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the important part, is having the conversations and the feedback. Hey, you got a new pair of shoes. And that's what a lot of our guys, our players, get shoes because of who wears them, or because of whatever. And then it's like, okay, you just got some. And it's usually, over Christmas break, they go home and they get Christmas money and they come back with
And Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour are phenomenal at marketing for that.
Yeah,
especially when everybody knows that Jordan drop on Black Friday. Everybody's waiting for it.
And then it's just touching base with them and, hey, how do they feel compared to your other shoes, if it was a different brand or a different style?
Exactly.
And also, like, hey, start to break them in at practice. You're going to wear your old shoes still on for games.
And that's a little secret I've got for you.
Happen, right?
Yeah, as a strength conditioning coach, my little secret for you with guys breaking in shoes is, I learned this from my hockey guys. Get a blow dryer and a low to medium heat. Just let it sit under there. So the reason you're breaking it down is you're re-warming up the glue again.
Right.
And then you lock your foot in, lace it up, and then it molds better to your foot. So you shave like 3 or 4 practices with that. That's a little tidbit from me, from my hockey guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, it's and getting the feedback and hey, like, this is what I feel, or this is what I like, or this is what I don't like, and then helping them make that decision and educate them about the decision based on, like, all these things we've talked about versus whose shoe it is.
Absolutely.
what color it is or what brand it is.
Who cares? Like we're at a level now where like that doesn't matter. That's just marketing. Get past it. And let's figure out the best. Let's figure out the best shoe for the athlete and the best shoe for yourself. I'm gonna give you a little secret. I have my favorite shoes here. I just have to take this little tidbit. This is just for my own like guilty pleasure. It's my own self-indulgence. I grinched out my New Balance and put red laces on them. I'll go into this on a whole different day and a whole different time. These are my new favorite ball shoes. They used to be the Jordan 28, 29, and even 30. But these have become my new favorite ball shoe. And I grinched them out with red laces, but unfortunately I haven't been able to wear them yet, but I'm wearing around the gym a lot. I haven't been able to play with them yet, but I will share this with you guys later on a different segment. Really good ball shoe, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave that as a little.
I'm excited. Yeah,
I'll leave that as a little teaser for you guys, a little bit of a trailer.
Yeah.
So what else, Jay? What else do you want to talk? Anything else you want to talk about before we start to bore people?
I think the biggest thing is having different shoes for different functions. I think one shoe can't, as much as they try to tell you that one shoe can do everything. You need different shoes for different things,
absolutely.
And tailoring the shoe. I'll ask guys too at my level. Who plays a style of game, and I don't know who told that to me back in the day, but who plays a style of game that you play, not who you wish. Everyone said, I call Kevin Durant. No, not who you wish.
And be honest about it. Yeah, and be honest about it.
The shoe that guy's wearing, again, give or take, that's maybe where you want to start to look.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have told you that, Jay.
You might have told me that.
I might have told you that.
I don't need to be on I don't need to be on the shoe that Zion Williamson's wearing. I'm not too. I'm not 6'8", 6'10".
I also have hips that can move, so I don't want to be in his shoes.
Yeah, I was always looking at Rip Hamilton back in the day.
Oh, is that your game? Is that your game, Jay? Is that your game?
Yeah, off the ball, catch a shoe, running around.
So you're basically Reggie Miller. Is what you're saying.
Right. What shoe was he? I really want a shoe for my game. So,
I throw in a caveat to that too. I'd be careful with that too, because some of those guys don't even know what the hell they're doing.
Right. I mean, that's a good place.
And I love Anthony Bennett, and if he's watching this, I'm sorry. I love him to death, but I don't know why he was wearing Kobe's. Didn't make any sense to me. And I had this conversation with him, and I'm like, why are you rocking? He's like, it feels good. It's really light. I'm like, doesn't fit your game, man.
Right. Or your body structure.
Or your body structure, or your weight. Yeah. Like those LeBrons, they're designed for guys who are like 240. That's why you need that huge cushioning on the heel, and that's why you need the zoom in the front, because you're just heavy. Like I don't know anybody that should be wearing that right now.
Right. No, it's good to talk it out, and I think again, like people just need to take their time.
Yeah. And ask questions. Ask the right people the right questions.
And ask questions, and even though you might be a Nike guy, maybe that's not the shoe for you.
It might not be the shoe for you. Yeah, hey, and I'm a testament to it too. Like, I guess we were both a testament to it too. Like, I am a Nike guy, but I love those New Balances, and you're a Nike guy, but you rock the Addy Zeros. So, it's just finding the right shoe for you, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Dude, I appreciate this, man. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us and like test my knowledge on shoes, but like also like just chopping it up. I feel like we're at a barbershop right now, but for shoes. Yeah. Actually, we should probably do something like that.
Yeah,
like a shoe coffee shop or something like that. We should probably chop it up something like that.
Next time I'm home, I'll bring a couple pairs back and surprise you.
We'll do a live chat, and we'll do something like that, like face to face. We'll do that.
Dig in the crates a little bit and find some old gems for you to dissect.
Absolutely. I would love that, man. I would love that. Hopefully, like I'm looking to get some older shoes too that I can actually saw in half, so I can share that.
Oh no! No, you ain't coming.
All right, brother. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I appreciate the time again. Everybody hit up Jay Mulatto. Jay, what's your handle?
It's J_SP coach. Instagram's the best way. I'm pretty active. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about stuff, just hit me up, man.
Nice. So that's Jay, head strength conditioning coach at St. Lawrence College. On my end, obviously, if you're watching this, I'm basketball_Chris. I've also got funk.monk and Run It Back reviews on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm going to try and shove all my basketball stuff, all my shoe stuff over to my other handle, Run It Back reviews. at least the more professionally produced cuts of the shoe stuff will be at Running Back Reviews. But also look that up on YouTube. Give it a like and a subscribe and a follow. I appreciate it, and we'll do the same and follow everybody back. Let's get this community and conversation running and keep it going. Daniel, is it Daniel? I think it's Daniel. Dude, anytime, man, if you want to do this and you want to chop it up, is it Daniel? Daniel, I can't quite see it. If you want to chop it up and talk shoes and get a little segment in on us, just you and I, let's do it. Hit me up, DM me, and let's get this going. Cool?
Yeah, man, I appreciate the time, and stay safe, and hopefully we're out of this next.
Josh, why are you jumping in now when we're
God.
We were just talking crap about you the whole time. Oh my God, Josh, where are you? Like, did Mac just tell you to jump on? Like, where have you been?
Probably. Well, he could catch the replay.
You can, I'll save it and put it on my IGTV stuff. We'll get this going, man.
Josh Prehab said.
Josh, the other Josh Alvarez, another Josh Ford. Josh Alvarez, I love you. Josh Ford, I'm kind of spiteful about you because you're jumping in right before we punch out. But Josh, look out for the video. I'll share it with you. I'm going to visit Guelph when we can, and I want to talk to your basketball guys too. And Josh Alvarez, we'll connect soon. Again, everybody, Jay, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate the insight, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. My pleasure. We'll connect soon, and when you come home, let me know, okay?
Yeah, sounds good, man. Peace.
All right. Josh, I love you. Both of you guys. Have a good one.